Alright, so I'm here today to kind of riff about some of my thoughts about just kind of Blizzard and well, not just Blizzard, but also just kind of the game industry as a whole, or just kind of some of the perspectives I see. So anyway, BlizzCon went over like Led Zeppelin, or maybe not even that well. You know, it went over like maybe like an exploding colostomy bag full of greedy investors that got their asses kicked. I mean, if only it did go over like a Led Zeppelin, you know, that they'd have like famous albums and stuff. But no, that was like some sort of weird like septic robot having a malfunction and then exploding while it tried to interact with a wall or something after hitting the wall and then trying to interact with it. I mean, that was just a public relations disaster on such a scale. It boggles both the mind and the body. It's not like a body high, it's like a body asphyxiation, maybe. Like a body inversion, perhaps. Well, anyway, so you see the character Alo Dia D, ID Diablo, which actually is kind of strange. His name was actually a randomly generated name for the Red Mage. Interesting, as he dispatches evil weapons near the city of Juneau. But anyway, I guess I'll just kind of riff on the article. There's a article from, I think it's Polygon. Diablo Immortal broke the unspoken rules of Blizzard and BlizzCon. The Diablo Immortal controversy is the result of a company breaking its own social contract with fans. Blizzard wasn't ready for the immediate and overwhelmingly negative fan reaction to the announcement of Diablo Immortal, and interviews after the controversial press conference indicate that the company may be confused about why fans are so angry. Well, it's pretty obvious. It goes on to say, to understand Blizzard, you need to understand that it's a developer that is known more for its execution on existing ideas than its original concepts. Blizzard takes games that people already love and iterates on them with a focus on lore, character design, and polish. Blizzard doesn't need to get a genre first, it needs to be able to do it better. Okay, so yada yada yada. I'll just kind of go into my take, basically. Okay, so the first thing they did is all these people that paid for a hotel and all these diehard, you know, obviously PC gamers who went to this event, which is BlizzCon, and they're just rabid fans of Blizzard and this, that, and the other thing. Okay, so Blizzard just slaps them in the face by saying that there's a game, right? And this game is, as anyone can tell, is basically the equivalent of what's called in the automotive industry, it's called badge engineering, which is where you didn't really do the game, you just took a pre-existing model that was either terrible or awful or not very good at all, and you just slapped a badge on it and called it a different vehicle, and that's how you engineer a car. You know, a company that's known for that is GM, General Motors, which puts out some just terrible vehicles on pre-existing platforms, changes the badge a little, and calls that engineering. So that's basically what they got. And then they were informed that this game is not for PC, which everyone that knows Blizzard knows that it's all about PC games. So they just slapped their fans in the face again. And from what I can tell, after this disaster of a press conference or an event or whatever, where it, I mean, there was somebody that thought it was a out of season April Fool's joke because it's a joke. I mean, you can't be serious that you would insult your fans that much, but they did, all in the name of greed, essentially. But the worst thing of all is what Blizzard did after all of this. For some reason or another, they're censoring their fans, so they're betraying their fans, ironically, in a Frozen sort of way, on the level that's unfathomable, and that they kind of betrayed their fans at the press conference or whatever, and then they went even further to shut down their democratic right to basically have a freedom of speech. So they shut down their freedom of speech or whatever by massively censoring the negative response to essentially the slap in the face that went down. And it's very tragic because I think there's now two sides to this company. I think there's the Activision side, and then I think there's the Blizzard side. I would hope, or I would like to think, that the negative part came from the Activision side, but one can only hope. The other side seems to be there's like a remnant of a brilliant company there, and it's so sad because I got my hopes up over Overwatch, which was like, man, oh man, this could be like a whole new, turning a whole new leaf for Blizzard. It's like, not only do they have a FPS now, they have incredible character designs and a potentially amazing series. I mean, who knows what they could do with that? Maybe they'd get together with Capcom or something, or any number of other things. But, well, as we all know, I mean, it's all over the internet by now. And not only that, it's just, apparently their stock dropped, is that right? I think their stock dropped maybe $4 billion just overnight after that press conference. And, I mean, that's staggering on its own right, but you understand that this is going to stick with them, that their fans now know what's up, right? It's like a company telling their fans, like, essentially, fuck you, and then after telling them fuck you, they say something like, you have no right to complain, you have no right to, downvote the video, you have no right to comment anything on our videos, you have no right to, be a fan of Blizzard, you have no right to, express passion over our games at all, or, It's basically a disaster. I mean, you would have been better off just letting the comments, fly, essentially. And I mean, it would have been bad enough, but at least you'd still have the credibility of, like, honestly, the fans ravished, or, did a counter-strike on you or something. But, I mean, it's just endemic of the game industry as a whole, so at this point, who the flip knows what the state of RPGs are, man? I mean, maybe this is the golden moment of Square Enix where, they'll bounce back from Final Fantasy VII being a, remake disaster. Who knows? I mean, it's just kind of disconcerting. I mean, we can see that these companies are... It's almost like Wayne's World, where there's a great show, and it gets taken over or run by people that have absolutely no interest in the show. They don't care about them, they don't care about Wayne, they don't care about Garth. They only care about, being a business person or some sort of greedy, horrible investor or something along those lines. But anyway, just some of my thoughts. In closing, J. Ellen Brack, Blizzard's new CEO, has to convince longtime Diablo players that Blizzard hasn't begun to sacrifice its quality, blah blah blah. That will be a challenge. Blizzard has risen to prominence by applying its strengths to existing genres. And then it says that basically Diablo Immortal breaks all of their unspoken rules at BlizzCon. What happens with the project next will shape how fans perceive not just the game, but the company. So, anyway, just some of my thoughts. Maybe upvote the video. Maybe downvote the video, and I won't censor it. How's that? You give me a ton of thumbs downs, and I won't have to re-upload the video, or change the stats because I'm in with Google, or YouTube, and I can pay a ton of bribes or something. Hey, you could downvote it, and I could just leave it there. Wow, how would that be for something? Anyway. Man, those are some sheer cliffs around that ocean. I wonder what happened there.